that have obviously convinced him.
And if you were looking at any other projects outside of Manchester City in the Premier League at the minute, I'm sorry, you want to be on board an Arsenal train.
It's very early. It's very early for the project, and we'll see how they get on next year.
But if you are a young player, they've got a young squad that's ambitious and excitable to watch. And, you know, for even this is me as a Tottenham fan saying it, who absolutely hates Arsenal, and all of you know that. But if I was a young player and, you know, Man City wasn't on the table, which is now isn't, of course I'd go to Arsenal. Chelsea at the moment, you don't know what on earth the project is. Tottenham are well out of it at the moment. Liverpool, they are, you know, arguably, okay, you'd go to Liverpool. But again, they've got no Champions League football for next year. So if you are Declan Rice, the obvious answer, and you want to stay in London, is Arsenal.
To be where they are at the moment, they're doing really well, and I think they're definitely going to be contenders this season.
I don't know who ruled you out of being contenders.
No, there's a lot of people been just saying,
some Arsenal fans I saw after the Tottenham game, they were like,
there's been a discussion saying that only Liverpool are going to be.
I'd say you haven't been. The only thing I'd say is that you look a bit more mature this season. Obviously, last season you were absolutely flying.
That was mature yesterday.
It was. I think, and that's the difference. Maybe that's why people think that you're not as good, but actually it's a much more mature Arsenal.
Because in years gone by, like Flex said, you lose that game. Someone messes up.
This season, it's like, if you look at the goals scored, then in and around the same. Goals conceded, they're in and around the same.
Well, actually, it's less the goals that they're conceding this year.
So it's like, I think metrically, they're all the same there, but stylistically, they're not convincing us, if you like. And I was like, are they doing the Liverpool thing where they're a little bit more difficult to break down, but they're still just as dangerous?
I think that they're more mature this year, Arsenal. I think it's great to have that exciting champagne football. But I think ultimately when you're going for a title, and they probably didn't have the squad depth, and you know, missing Saliba was a big miss for them as well. But I think that's where the inexperience maybe, and just the excitement of the whole situation kind of let them down towards the end of the season, kind of in that last couple months. So I think this year that's what they've learned from, and they are City, and they're very, very similar in the way that they play.
Underrated player, man.
Do you know what the difference between when I look at you this year to last year, and obviously at Christmas we were all talking about you probably don't look the same, and you didn't really. Around Christmas you still looked a little bit weak, but you've gone into a different gear which you didn't have this time last year, or were about to fall off. You look like you've got leaders. And that is, I think, a very big difference between you last year and you this year. And I look at the likes of the Gabriels and obviously Rice and even Saliba. Those are your leaders. You've got the spine of your team completely spot on. A lot of them have learned
from last year.
Yeah, they have. They definitely have. And I think that you're a different animal this year, especially coming into, you know, the latter part of the season. But those set pieces, you're incredibly well drilled. You come out the blocks absolutely firing, like Matisse said, you suffocate teams in the opening kind of 15 minutes, which is what you want. That's how you set the tone and the precedent for the game. The team I've enjoyed watching the most, being completely unbiased this season, is Arsenal. They've made the best football.
That's big for
they are banging form. I never say it, I'm just being honest, right?
Because for once
I'm just being honest, right? If you had to look at the way a team plays football, Arsenal have been the most consistent, especially since Christmas in this period. If you were going to start any type of consistency, it needed to be this side of the season, in my opinion. I think that the way that you're on, the way you're scoring goals, the way you're playing, if you go there and you get a result, I think everything is in your favour. Obviously, you've still got big games to come, but I feel like the pendulum swings a little bit in your favour, and the confidence that team mentally would have across the squad, across the fan base, everything, I feel like that's a massive driving factor to try and take you over the edge and win the league. And even though I feel like we all wanted a bit more, you know, attractive football yesterday, we wanted Arsenal to really have a go, I feel like it was a very smart display from Arsenal, considering you conceded, I think it was 7 across the 2 games last year. This year, none conceded against City. And for me, I just thought, if you can go to the Etihad and get a draw, like, it doesn't have to be a great game of football. You get in, get out, you get a point. And I thought it was smart. You learn not to try and match City toe to toe, which is what you did last year and obviously failed at it. And, you know, I think if it was anyone else, you'd be commending your own team, saying that, you know, you come out with a point.